welcome to my channel. This is All Things Knit and Stitches, and I'm Nicole, and this is where I talk about all things knitting and cross stitch. So today I am doing my May Roundup video, and that is where I'm going to talk about all the things that I've been working on the last couple of weeks. It has been a while since I recorded my last video, so some of it is beyond May, but for the most part, it is what I've been doing the last couple of weeks. So coming up, I've got fully finished framed pieces for cross stitch. I have a couple of pieces that I've finished, but they have not been fully finished yet. I have cross stitch whips to show, plans. I have haul, and then I'm going to jump over to knitting, and I have a couple of fully finished patterns to show, a couple of releases for May. And then I'm going to show you what I've been working on and also talk about the North Texas Yarn Crawl, which was the beginning of, I think it was in April. So anyway, we'll go over all of that and I'll show you what I picked up and some haul from my knitting. And yeah, so let's jump into what I worked on in May. Okay, so earlier this month, I pulled all my finished projects out and decided which ones I wanted to frame and which ones I was going to make into pillows or other finishes. And so I have quite a bit of finished framed pieces. This first one is the July Quaker from Created from the Heart on Etsy, which I will link below. And I discovered this series because I was watching Handmade by Sarah W. on YouTube, and she had this behind her. So I asked her what it was, and she directed me to the shop. And so I started the series back in July. This is the only one that I have fully finished. This particular series, each pattern has 3 colors that kind of coordinate with the month. And this fits perfectly in this 5x7 frame. This is 18 count Aida, and it is the called for colors, and it's 2/2. Another series by Created from the Heart are these monthly postcards. When I found her, I fell in love with these as well. These are pretty quick stitches that feature the flower, the month, the name of the flower, and the postmark. This is also done on 18 count Aida. Okay, another one that I recently framed is the July 4th House by Primrose Cottage. These are PDF patterns that I believe you can find on their Etsy shop or probably their website. I think I finished this last year and then I just framed it. This is a 3.5 by 5 frame. It looks like 14 count Aida, and I would have used the called for colors. This is by Little House Needleworks. It is, I believe it's just called Summer. This is a series that comes with the pattern and then the floss, the classic colorworks. I would have used all the colors included. I think the house was originally white and I didn't like the way it looked, so I switched it to red, which was in the kit. It's featured in these flowers and then the flowers on the side. And this looks like a 28 count, probably mushroom 28. And this is a 4x6 frame and it fits in there perfect. And I have started the other seasons, but I don't have any of them finished yet. Okay, this is one I started earlier this year and finished. I can't remember the name of the pattern, but it's a Lizzie Kate that I got on 1-2-3 Stitch. It came with this really cute dog bone charm. This is on 14 count Aida, and it's all the called for DMC. This, I am not sure the name of the pattern because I did this probably 15 years ago. I have been a cross stitcher for the past 15-20 years, and then I kind of got out of it, took a deep dive into knitting and just kind of focused on that, and then in the past 4 or 5 years have come back to cross stitch as well. And this was in a drawer with all my cross stitch stuff. And so I finally pulled it out and finished it. This is a 5x5 frame. I did it on some kind of linen, but I'm not sure. It looks like a 28 count, and it looks to be 2/2. Okay, so next up I have finished pieces that are not fully finished, and I apologize for not ironing them all. This is the June house by Confessions of a Homeschooler. I recently finished this this is 28 count vintage country mocha. I did it on the non-modeled side, probably just by accident, but it's fine. All of these patterns have some kind of quilt. This is on the side of on the fence. Some of them are on the house itself. But this was, I believe this was the second series that she did. I'm going to show you the truck in a minute. Or I can put it here. This is the June truck. So this was the first monthly series. This is one of the first things I started doing when I got back into cross stitch. I have most of these done, but it's my mission this year to get them all done, because again, just like everything else, like you get distracted. So I am pulling them out at the beginning of the month or the month before, and either starting them or finishing whatever I have started. So I'm really trying to get them all done this year, and I'm pretty sure I just have July, November, and December to finish. And I haven't decided. I'd started out doing the trucks as pillows and framing the houses, but the April and May I did frame the trucks, so I may, it just depends. I go back and forth, but these are both on 28 count. This is white, and then like I said, this is vintage country mocha. And this is Confessions of a Homeschooler. Simply Spring by the Drawn Thread. And here is my finish. All is one piece. This, I loved doing this. It was something that I started and I stitched on it entirely, just this until I finished it. I love the color of these letters. I am using all of the overdyes that calls for. It does have some specialty stitches. So the nest and then these flowers are different stitches with French knots. The white is French knots, but I absolutely love this. I think the colors are really nice on this fabric. I'm not sure of the fabric, but oh, it has a tag on it. It's 28 count dirty linen. It's summer. And then I'll show you the colors. So here are all the colors for summer. So I'm super excited to get this one started and get this finished, because I think it's really pretty. So this I started in January. This is the Flip It Bits by Lizzie Kate. It's a monthly series. You can see right here all of them on the back. I'm doing them individually and framing them. They do come with buttons. I decided to leave them off of this one. And this is 28 count light taupe or mushroom. I'm not sure. I also didn't use the called for. I would have just pulled out colors that I thought looked good and, you know, kind of went off the picture. And I think it looks really good. This is a pattern from Little House Needleworks, Landed the Free. And these were similar to the summer that I showed. These come with the floss, and then you just pick the fabric. This was the first one. There's 3 of them. Okay, so my first 2 whips I worked on in May, but I'm putting them away because I'm done with spring and I'm moving on to summer and patriotic stitching. So this first one is Spring Sampler by The Proper Stitcher. And here is my progress. Again, I apologize for not ironing. I had the house done. I do believe I'm going to leave the windows blank instead of stitching, but I'm going to leave that until the end and then decide. So when I pulled out this year, I got this plant done, the vine up and started going across, and then this green is in the vine. So when as I was working on this, I would come over and do a couple of letters. So I just have to do the vine around, finish the letters and this pot. But I just, like I said, I'm kind of done with spring and ready to move on to summer. So I will definitely pull this out next year and get it finished. I think it's super pretty. This is 32 count mellow stone, and I'm using 1 strand of DMC over 2. So it's a little slower going than like a 18 Ada or a 28 count, and maybe that's why I didn't finish it, but it still is possible for me to do it. I have a couple that I started 36 count, and I'm kind of regretting that because I'm more of a 28, 18 count, and I can do 36. It just, I don't really look forward to it when I pull it out, and so I'm debating switching those depending on how much progress I have. Okay, this next one, this is Spring by Little House Needleworks. So it's this one right here shown in green. So I discovered this pattern in the Tinsmith Wife shop, and it was done on perforated paper, and I just really like the look of the monochromatic. So I picked 4 cottage garden threads, and this is the color I'm using for spring, and it's like a super pretty pink, variegated. Okay, so the next one I started in January, but I haven't really worked on it since then, but I did want to show it because it's part of like my plans, like ongoing plans. So I decided to do the Early American series by Little House Needleworks. So here, this is the first one, and then here is my progress so far. So this is a piece of 18 count Ada that I dyed a pale gray. The original called for color is Tin Roof. So I outlined them so I made sure I had plenty of room. And of course I started this in January, but I find that Little House Needleworks patterns have a lot of different colors, so there's a lot of start and stop, so it takes me a little bit longer than others. And I think I probably just did this and then picked something else up and just never went back to it. So I have to figure out how to make it part of my monthly plans to at least work on it. I'm not sure if I will just work on this one until I get it done, or maybe if I come up with a monthly plan, I will start and then I'll just go back each month. So maybe I'll assign each block to a month, and then I will do as much as I can and then just kind of rotate it. And that way I have them all in and I just go back and finish. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this moving forward. Obviously, it's not going to be done before the 250 in July, but I will get it done eventually. So I have the long meshy wave, which I just showed in finishes. And it is still in the hoop because I am currently working on it. And I just started in the middle. So here is my progress. Here are the flosses. Like I said, these are the ones that were included in the first kit. And so I'm just using them, except for the white, which was part of this, because there was not white in the first one. But just, this is the one that I just showed. And so this is where I'm at with the second one. And they're relatively quick. And again, it's 28 count light mocha. The next one is, I believe this is American House. Again, I'm currently working on it, so it's still in the hoop. Let me grab the pattern. So yeah, American House sampler. The sample's shown in blue. I decided to do it on this. I think this is mushroom, 28 count. So I changed the white. The other colors, I'm pretty sure I'm just doing the DMCs. And so my plan is to get as many of these letters in as I can and then do all the white that I can that's in this hoop and then move it over, finish all this, and then do the flag. But I love this. It is so pretty. I've seen it in a bunch of different colors, fabric colors, and it looks pretty in blue or white or cream, I mean. And then this is a stitch, needle minder, sorry, from Flamingo Toes. I'm in her needle minder of the month club. I think there's 1 month left, maybe. And it is going to continue in 2026. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it. I'm not even sure if I still can. It may be sold out. But I have really enjoyed getting those this year. And I will show you in haul because I have the most recent. Okay, so next up in haul, I have quite a few patterns that I've gotten recently to show. So first up, I have the Scattered Seed Samplers. This is the first of the 2026 series. I recently joined, and so I think the second one is coming soon. And then I believe there's a third one in a couple months. And it's the whole kit. I opted for 18 count Ada. So you get everything you need to finish them. They're really well put together and they're super cute. So I'm excited to get started on those. A couple I downloaded from Etsy as PDFs. I have the Let Freedom Ring, Old Glory, and I especially love these two because I believe they're just like the simplicity. I think they'll be pretty quick stitches, so I'm excited to get those started. And then I also have Long May She Wave, which I thought was really pretty. I have Heart of America by Little House Needleworks. I like the way it's divided up. I may brighten up the colors a little bit, so it's just more of a vibrant red and blue and gold. So we'll see when I decide what fabric. And okay, next up, I got the Summer Salt boxes from Plum Street. I love these. I have started the winter and autumn ones. I especially love the horse on this one, but then I love this barn house. So I'm definitely going to do these soon. I just have to decide on fabric and colors. Usually I opt for the DMC versions if it's small. I may see what I have and do the house in the variegated, in the overdyes, just because it's a decent area. Or I may just use the DMCs, I'm not sure. But I don't think I'm going to do the white. I think I'm just going to do the inside part. Next up is this American Beauty by Little Robin Designs. When I saw this, I fell in love. I think it's beautiful. Just the scale, the tall, skinny, I love. And the flowers. Again, I don't think I'm going to use overdyed. I'll probably just use the DMC conversions if they're included, which they are in parentheses. So I'll decide once I decide on fabric and, you know, put this together, but most likely I'm probably just going to use DMCs for this. Okay, so then I have the Bees and Birds Sewing Roll by Stacey Nash. I saw this on the Periwinkle Stitcher podcast, and I probably would have never wanted to do this based on this picture, but seeing her stitching, it is absolutely gorgeous. The colors are just beautiful, and the detail. So I immediately went and got this and got all the floss from 123 Stitch because the colors is what sold me. And so I'm going to figure out a fabric and start this soon. Another Little House Needleworks is this Liberty 1776. Again, I love this pattern, the simplicity, but I will probably brighten up the colors just because I feel like it's a little too dark. So I'll probably change the red and blue to start with and then go from there as a jumping off point. Summer Moon by Plum Street. This is one of those situations where I probably will use the overdyes just because to me it's worth it. The color of the house is stunning. So to get that effect, I would probably use the overdyes. I really love this pattern. I did start the Winter Moon. I didn't make it very far, but this is probably one of my favorites. So I definitely want to get this going soon. The Patriotic Shaker Box set from the Scarlet House. I fell in love with this. I love all three patterns, but I especially love this row of houses. The colors are really pretty. They're just kind of like muted. And I just think that's really pretty. So I really have to see if I want to do the DMC because it is only charted for Week Style Works and Gentle Art. So I'll have to pull some colors out and see if I can get a good match. If not, I may just pull the trigger on the overdyes, but I do love this a lot. And it's not bad. The box top is 90 by 61, pin keep 79 by 44, and the scissor fob is 19 by 26. So it should be, all of them should be pretty quick. So that might be fairly soon. This is Old Glory by Little House Needleworks, and I saw this and I thought this was a super cute pattern. So I believe it's 69 by 69, so it shouldn't be too hard of a stitch to get done. And I love patriotic. I do a lot of patriotic decorating, so I can't have too many. And I decided right after Memorial Day, or right around that time, I put all my patriotic stuff out, and I'm just leaving it out because it is a special birthday this year. Okay, so I have my Dwelling Place by Little House Needleworks. I guess I was on a Little House kick this past month, but they do have some really good patriotic charts. So I love this. I think it's super cute. The house, the flag, and then the bird. And so this also needs to be high up on my list. Then I have the June Flip It Bits by Lizzie Kate. And so I have this kitted up and ready to go. And I'm going to try to get that done this month. These are pretty quick stitches, so that shouldn't be too hard. The Hometown Neighborhood series, The Flag House. This is a series by Lori Holt. I'm getting it through the Fat Quarter Shop. I love this series. I just don't know when and how I'm going to stitch them. I haven't decided if I'm doing all of them, if I'm going to do just the house or the entire thing. So for now, I'm just kind of collecting them, and then I'll decide how I want to attack that. And then the next thing is a series. This is The Houses on Stitchery Lane. And I saw this on Fat Quarter Shop. I can't remember who it was, but one of the ladies was showing her progress on this. And I loved her stitching. And so I decided to join this club. There are 9 in total. These are the first 4. I haven't started it yet, but I'm excited to get it started. And I am doing it all in one piece. I dyed this piece of 18 count Ada. The called for is Arrowroot by Roxy Floss, and I just went off the picture when I dyed this. And then I have all the floss the DMC. What's really great is that they have a printout that shows you all of the floss that you need, and they have the Roxy floss, the other over dyes, so a mixture of Classic Colorworks, Weeks Dye Works, and Gentle Art, as well as the DMC, and they tell you how many you need of each color to do the whole series, which is really nice. So that is a plan. I just haven't decided when I'm going to do that yet. And then next up, I have, this is the latest Needle Minder of the Month club. And it comes with the floss. It comes with the pattern, which has this in cross stitch as well as embroidery, and then the needle minder. So I'm just collecting these. My plan is to do the embroidery version, but I believe when it's done, she has something that puts all of them together. So I'm just kind of waiting to see, but I do take these out and use those because I do use needle minders most of the time. And then two other things I wanted to show that I got recently at Home Goods, which I love Home Goods. You never know what you're gonna find. It's nice to just go wander around because they do have really unique things sometimes. But I found this embroidery kit, and it comes with the hoop, the fabric, which is printed with the design, and then all the floss. And this was on clearance for $3. So I thought that was a really good find. And then this is super cute because I'm a big reader as well. So this combines both of those loves. This is a tote bag that has this printed on it, and then it has instructions on embroidering like some of this design. So the leaves, some of the titles, and some of the details. So it's super cool. This was $8, which I thought was a steal because you can't buy a tote bag for $8. So if you have a Home Goods, go wander around if you don't already, because you never know what you're going to find. They have some really cool stuff. Okay, so now we're going to jump into knitting. And first up, I'm going to show you finished projects. This is the Haven scarf. And this was a release in May. This is one of my designs. And it's a bulky knit scarf. And it just has this lace detail on the ends, and the rest is stockinette stitch. So I designed this I wrote it two ways. You can knit it completely in one piece, so both ends are opposite. And I'll show them here because you can't really tell. So you can't tell for the most part. But I also wrote it so you knit two identical pieces and sew them together in the middle if you did want either to do that so it's completely symmetrical, or if you wanted to just practice sewing it together. And then I'm going to insert some pictures in here as well, showing it as a table runner because it makes a really pretty table runner as well because it's just bulky and wide enough. So this is the Haven, and it will have all the links down below where you can find that. Next up, I have my May washcloth. So I have a washcloth of the month, and this is May, and it's just a simple vine going up the center. These are great for trying out stitch patterns. They are very practical because this is all I use in my kitchen, but they also make great washcloths for your bath or like face. They are very sturdy and they make great gifts as well. So a lot of times, because I keep quite a bit of knit washcloths, like I usually have them going, and I'll pair a set of 2 or 3 with like a hand soap as like a housewarming gift. So they definitely are, like I said, a good way to practice stitches and just different techniques And so this is the, okay, so for knitting whips, I have 4 to show you. First up is this Easy Street Tee. I recently purchased this as a kit in a different color, and I'm waiting for the yarn, but I decided to cast it on in a color I had. And it's hard to show the progress, but I have done, you knit it back and forth, the back to make it taller, then you connect it in the front, and now I'm just going round and round, and I'm continuing on with these raglan increases that you can see here. And then once I get to split the sleeves, it'll just be continuous rounds. So I'm kind of in this section right here, and then you'll split for sleeves, then just do the body, then you go back, pick up and do the neck, and then pick up the sleeves and finish the sleeves. So it should be pretty quick. I am using this brown. I don't have the label, but it is a Lion Brand cotton blend that I had. And I just thought this would make a good everyday neutral. And the color I ordered for the kit, I believe, is olive green. So if I like it, if I like the pattern, I will just make it into green as well. If not, I'll use the yarn for a different pattern. This Evermore. And this is my progress. The body's done. I'm currently working on the sleeves, and it has this design down the sleeve. So it takes a little bit of concentration. And anybody that's a knitter or sweaters knows sleeve island is a thing that you get stuck on, and you just don't want to do it, but you have to make yourself do it. And then here is the bottom. Now, I don't know how I feel about the bottom. I'm going to try it on, and I may either take this out and make it longer, or I'm going to take out the cast or the bind off, and I'm going to do something else so that it doesn't curl up. Now, I do need to block it when it's done, so that may help with this to lay down a little bit better. Yarn that I found on clearance. I don't remember where, but it's super pretty, bulky with this like stellina. So I love the yarn. This is super soft. I wish you could feel it. So I'm excited to have this done for when winter rolls around. So I definitely have to make myself finish the sleeves. But for now, it's just sitting up here in my craft room and waiting for me to just pull the trigger on these sleeves and get that done. So more to come on that. These are in my new Project 10 bag by Redesign that I got for Mother's Day. And I love this. It is a super nice leather bag. So you unzip it, and it just falls open, and it has these 2 sections. It has lots of pockets for your scissors. This side has holders for needles, and then the middle is a zipper pocket so you can keep things in there. I have 2 projects in here. They fit great, and then it just zips back up. Everything stays like where it's supposed to. So, okay, so the first pattern I have in my bag is this Anchor summer shirt. It is knit in this cotton cashmere blend that I picked up. I believe I got this on clearance. I love going to yarn stores and looking at all the different yarns that they carry because everywhere is different, and I always hit up the sale racks because you just never know what you're going to find. And if you know the numbers on what you're knitting, so if you know how much yarn you need roughly for different projects, then you can always pick it up, even if you're not sure what pattern it's going to go with. And that way you don't end up with just 1 or 2 skeins of yarn that you won't use because you don't know what to do with it. So with that being said, I bought that not knowing what I was going to make with it. And I just have a stack of patterns that I want to make and just kind of match it up. So this is where I'm at. I'm on 4, the section 4. I believe you do 5 total sections of this 1x1 ribbing for the circular yoke. And then you split for sleeves and you just do stockinette stitch, and then you pick it back up, and then of course you do the sleeves. So if I can get past this, which gets pretty boring, then I can get to the stockinette, which will go a lot faster. So I am keeping this in here because I really want to make some progress on this before I cast on another pattern for a sweater or a shirt. Okay, next up, this is a pattern that I am working on designing. Here is the yarn. And I got this recently when I did the North Texas yarn crawl. And this is a really pretty self-striping yarn, variegated. And so I am making a sideways. So I'm knitting it sideways, a long infinity scarf that'll be able to wrap around a couple of times. And so you can see the really pretty color changes. So if I was knitting like this wide and just going up, the colors would be a lot thicker and it would have a totally different effect. So it's really cool to play with the yarn and see what different techniques, come out. Because this is just garter stitch. But if it was stockinette, it would look different. If it was a pattern, it would look different. So it's just really cool to play with the yarn. And you can literally knit the same garment over and over again in different yarns and get completely different looks. So more to come on that. And so that is all that I have for my knitting whips. So now I'm going to show you some haul and talk about the North Texas yarn crawl that I went on earlier. Okay, so next up I want to talk to you guys about the North Texas yarn crawl. So this is something that they've been doing for the past couple of years. All the shops in the Dallas-Fort Worth area get together and do this crawl. There are lots of these around the state, different states. So if you're a knitter, look out for what is like around your area. I've been wanting to do it. We were either never in town or I just didn't have time to go do it. So I really made it a priority this year to at least, I was only going to do one day, and I hit 3 or 4 stores the first day in the Fort Worth area. And I had such a good time that I decided to do some of Dallas. So the first day I did West 7th Wool. I know Juju Knits is in Fort Worth. I can't remember the other one that I hit that day. It was one of these two, because I know the other ones were the second day. But either way, they were all great shops. They all have different yarn, different supplies. So it's just really cool to go to different yarn stores and see what they have. The samples are all different, knit in different things. So it's just really cool to go and look and get tons of inspiration. So the way it worked is that if you want to participate, the first shop, you could buy this bag. They were in all those stores, but I bought this in the West 7th Wool. It was $15. It's optional. They give you a passport. They stamp your passport and they give you a pin. So I just put my pins like on the corresponding shop. So as you go around, you get the passport stamped. And then at the end, you send it in and you are entered in for prizes. To my understanding, you could go to one or as many of them as you wanted to, and that would just determine how many entries you got. So one would get you entered in, but if you had all of them, then I don't know if it's like you got one per entry, but I know that it was more entries. Anyway, so like I said, I did like Fort Worth mainly on the first day, and then I had so much fun that I wanted to go, and I did a couple in Dallas. Knit Dallas is an amazing store as well. McKinney Knittery is one of my favorite stores that I have been in before. They also sell quilts, fabric, and some embroidery and cross stitch. They're amazing. It's in a really cool downtown area. McKinney's a super cool town. So just a really cool experience. Now, next year, I'm definitely going to do it, and my goal is to hit all of the shops. And they also do a bus tour. So they have a north and a south that they divide up, and you buy a ticket to this bus, and they drive you around to all the shops. So you're with other people that are doing the same thing, and you have, like, you know, a really good time, I would imagine. So I missed out on that this year because I waited till the last minute and it was booked. But next year, I'm going to try to jump on that. Things that I picked up in my travels was this super nice, this is a flax, CFC flax DK, so it's alpaca, linen, and silk, and it is DK. So I got enough of this to do a summer shirt, and this is just this really pretty pale yellow color. It's called ochre. So I picked that up. I also got this really pretty pink. I believe I got this at the West 7th Wool on clearance. And this is alpaca, wool, and silk. And super pretty. So again, enough for a top. I also picked up this bulky or Aran weight. This Make Aran. And this is the color Blush Blush. It has a little bit of like a black in it. But I got enough of this to make a sweater. Super pretty. And then I got this yarn. So in one of the shops, they had this pattern, and it is called the Paula top, and it was super pretty. They didn't have the yarn. They said it was discontinued, but this was pretty much the same. So I got this to make this top. So love that. So now I'm going to show you a couple of other patterns that I picked up, just some plans and ideas. These were either samples I saw or I just found like online. This was actually a pattern that I've seen before in yarn stores, and it is super pretty. And I got this when I got my bag from Jimmy Bean's Wool. This is a really pretty tank that is made in fingering. And so I thought that'd be really nice for summer. There's a full size. So it has really pretty detail. And that's from Knit Picks. Okay, the Mellow Mood sweater. I believe this is a free pattern if you join their newsletter. So definitely go check that out. And there's so many versions of this. Like even here, this is like a mock turtleneck. This is a crew neck. I love the detail. I don't know if you can see in the raglan shaping right here, but I love that detail. There is a short sleeve version. So that is super nice. Lots of pages. And then this Cascades tee that I also got on Knit Picks. And there's a full size picture of that. So just some ideas that I have to, with some of this yarn that I picked up, or even ones that I have, I have a whole wall of yarn behind me. So, but I really want to try to get what I'm doing at least most of the way there before I decide to cast on something else. So, but anyway, that is all I have to show you for May. And my plans are to be back at the end of June and with a roundup video. And hopefully in between, I'm going to do a whip parade of both my cross stitch whips and my knitting whips, because I have a lot of both and they all need to be gone through and decisions made. So there'll be 2 separate videos, but look for that, you know, in the coming weeks, and maybe some other stuff in between. So like I said, I really appreciate you guys watching the video. Please like and subscribe if you want. You can find me at all the links down below the video. If you want to sign up for my newsletter so you know what I'm releasing in June. I have a couple of plans. The washcloth pattern, and then I think I have 3 plans, a couple of scarves and a blanket pattern that I'm going to release. So if you want to sign up for the newsletter, you'll know, you know, when that's coming. And go check me out on Etsy and Ravelry. It's all things knit, and straight stitch is where I sell cross stitch supplies. So thanks again for watching, and until next time, happy stitching and happy knitting.